Yo, what's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Combat Conversations, and I'm your boy AG, aka the Boxing Guru, and I'm joined today with my man DB, and I hope he's bringing half the energy that I'm bringing this episode based off what happened last week on TheRun. This is TheRun.
Bro,
what's going on with
all
it, DB?
The energy. What's going on, AG?
Man, look, I'm just excited for yet another weekend that we are having in this run that started back on April 9th. And I'm looking at it now. Again, I don't want to be prisoner of the moment, but could this have been the best weekend so far of the run, even though we have many more weekends yet to come?
I think we're being prisoners of the moment, but I mean, one can argue.
One can argue, and guess what?
One can argue.
Let's get ready to convo about it. So, we already know what popped off this weekend. Let's give a little recap before we dive in. First off, Canelo taking a swift L. I mean, hey,
call it a swift L.
Oh, was it? What? Oh, that was swift. Oh, Bivol was swift.
Bro, that was a beatdown.
Oh, okay. You get what I'm saying? He swiftly,
Okay.
beat that ass down. Dmitry Bivol showed up. And again, we talked about it. We both picked Canelo, but hey, many people did. But at the same time, go back and check the data. We was all on Dmitry Bivol. And
Bivol was no cherry pick.
No,
and I don't know
no.
why people kept thinking he was a Euro bum or any dumb shit like that. But I guess that's
par for the course when you Canelo.
That's par
right?
for the course.
So either he's gonna be the GOAT or he's gonna be a bum ass piece of shit. There is no in between with this. That's the
no in between.
That's boxing
None.
Twitter rules. Also, but yet for a second time in a row, you got Canelo going up against a pay-per-view UFC. And we're going to see how the dice shake out, but
hey, real quick.
Did Canelo have a successful?
Real quick, before I answer that. Did Dana White, was he watching the fight?
He was. So I tweeted it out. I said, hey, does anybody have any pictures or footage of Dana White watching Canelo's fight on the ringside at UFC? And sure enough, somebody sent the link on it come through. Dana White was watching Dmitry Bivol, was putting the whipping on him. And matter of fact, at the moment of the clip was when Bruce Buffer was introducing Thug Rose, her fight.
You think he bet $100K on this fight?
I don't know if he did or not. I don't see no slips. But you know who did bet on the fight? Young Money Mayweather.
Money Mayweather.
Now look, we'll talk about that. He bet $10K. Look,
it's
we know
peanuts.
it's peanuts to him, but at the same time,
that's like $1 to us.
That makes me think that he's been betting $10K on Canelo to lose for a hot minute.
When your money May, when your name's Money Mayweather, I mean, you can afford to do that shit.
Yeah, you can. And then next week, the run continues with Jermell versus Brian Castaño, which we're gonna break that down because this train ain't stopping anytime soon. But to load up onto this train, Canelo Alvarez taking his first L since Money Mayweather. Now, we could argue about whether or not Triple G, all that blah, blah, blah. Let's put that aside. A real L that's
on the record.
That's on the record. And this one, of all, ain't arguable.
No, not at all. And, another thing we're going to get into, man, is scorecards. At least when it comes to a Canelo fight, I mean, it's ridiculous. 95 to 95 after 10, there's no way.
No, absolutely no way. So going in, basically what I had alluded to was that it was going to be a close fight, but Dmitry Bivol was visibly going to give him problems that everybody was going to notice and basically say Dmitry Bivol could be winning this fight. But yet, at the same time, knowing that Canelo was going to get love on the scorecards. He was. Like, we all knew the love on the scorecards was coming. And sure enough, right on schedule, them Vegas judges showed mad love to Canelo.
Could they not make it more fucking obvious?
Could they not make it more obvious? Coming off the bat, giving him the first 4 rounds. Now, what's funny is I gave Canelo 2 of those rounds, which were swing rounds, but yet I'm arguing that through 4, you can clearly see who's winning the fight. Again, Dmitry Bivol landing swift shots, jabs. What I told you about that footwork. Oh my goodness, what I told you about that footwork. Dmitry Bivol is not a standstill fighter.
No, he's not.
Not at all. And I really feel like if Beterbiev came into the picture, he would, like, I think Canelo would get Beterbiev. And I alluded to before, Bivol was the best 175. And for those who think this was a cherry pick,
you don't know shit about boxing.
You don't know shit about boxing. No, essentially, it's not a cherry pick gone wrong. This is a man that stepped up to the biggest challenge. And although we alluded to Dmitry Bivol gonna give him problems and probably essentially beat him, we was giving him mad praise for doing the reverse what we talked about. Don't go for the lowest hanging fruit.
No.
Don't work your way up, take the easy route. No, he went straight for the toughest challenge. And kudos to Canelo, but come up short.
I mean, like I said, I thought Canelo was gonna start off slow, trying to, feel him out, and then about round 6, 7, maybe 8, that's when we start to see the tide turn, and then in the later round, Canelo takes over and ultimately gets the decision.
We had seen that too many times in the past.
Too many times.
Correct.
So it's not abnormal to think, that couldn't happen again Saturday night, but Bivol just never let off the gas.
He didn't, and that was one thing that was very surprising.
And as the rounds went on, like Bivol, he just looked like the fresher fighter. Like Canelo looked fucking tired.
So here's one thing that I was thinking too. So, like, I think Canelo, not to say his training wasn't good. I don't think that. Canelo's been deep in fights, so I really don't want to allude it to his training. I want to kind of give a little bit more credit to how they talked about like his frustration and just things not really going his way. So more like panting or sighing, not necessarily like I'm actually tired, like I can't get up anymore. Right. But the feeling that I'm talking about. You've been putting in work. You go to do something and it kind of fails. You take your step back, put your hand on your hips, take your deep breath.
Right.
Shit, didn't work again. That's what I'm saying. He was going in, banging on the arms. That Callum Smith method didn't work on Bivol.
No, I just think, I can see that point, but I just think Bivol beat him down.
He did, but what I was saying is Canelo was, the shots he was landing, we all saw. He's hitting gloves and arms, tearing his arms up, landing those shots. But when he was doing that against Callum Smith jab and power punches became weaker and non-existent because his arms were tired and getting beat up.
Right.
Bivol persevered. He showed his arm.
Dude,
you see his arm? Oh, his arm is bruised and fucked up. Canelo's shots was there, but you had a guy who could push through that.
He dug deep, and
we didn't want to call him Triple G, but I called him very Triple G-like. And man, it was on full display. Full display.
The guy can box.
Yeah.
I don't understand how people think that was a cherry pick.
No. So was 175 too much for Canelo? What essentially was it the weight?
No.
I don't believe it was the weight.
He came across somebody who's just better.
Exactly. When it comes to skill set, and they talk about it with the, Eddie Reynoso's trainees, they struggle with boxer punchers, guys with a good jab.
And that's another thing. Like, some of y'all need to learn what pound for pound means, because like, how many times do we see people's list and somehow, some way, they still had Canelo over Bivol? Or still had Canelo very high. Like,
before we get into that, I've accepted the fact. Sometimes you got to be grown, you got to be the bigger man, and you just got to accept the fact that other people is pound for pound list is based off a different criteria than, say, yourself. It's just not the same. So one thing we can agree on, if two people can agree on that, you're at least getting somewhere, that the pound for pound list is an opinionated list anyway.
Oh, it is.
It's not a statistical list that you can back up with data facts. It's just, you can apply accomplishments and stuff in what you have. But again, that doesn't necessarily mean that applies to somebody else's list. So, I've seen talks that people still have Canelo number one pound for pound, haven't put Bivol on there yet. Like, dude, why not? The skill set that Bivol just showed you, if no matter what size that guy is, he's giving problems to that division, that group. Trust me. So that's why, to me, that's what makes a pound for pound. What you specifically have at that moment doesn't matter. Jermell Charlo, we'll get to that here in a bit. Just because he has 3 belts doesn't mean that he automatically needs to be top 10 pound for pound. Because I think if he shifted divisions, there's other guys in other divisions without belts that I think would mob Jermell Charlo.
Same thing goes for Tank.
Tank too.
ESPN got him at number 9.
So again, we know Tank is good, but do we want to put him top 10 pound for pound skill wise?
No.
I'm not ready for that yet. So I mean that's we'll get into that. So, but yes, essentially Canelo's slipping in my book. He's definitely we'll get to a pound for pound list here very shortly. We didn't want to go ahead and get into a pound for pound list in the middle of the run because too much shakeups. Like everybody's pound for pound list is like literally being adjusted. How many pound for pound lists have you saw since yesterday's Canelo's L? A dozen?
Yeah.
Everybody's updating this shit.
Oh, every second on Twitter. I mean, you see a new
Facebook groups.
You see
on
a new
Combat Conversations Facebook page. It's crazy.
You see a new pound for pound list every fucking 10 seconds.
So everybody's updating it because of Canelo's L.
But no, I agree. You gotta wait till after the run.
Wait till the run. Too much because people have Jermell Charlo in there. If Brian Castaño wins, people will be putting Brian Castaño 4-belt undisputed champ on their list. And then there goes your fucking updated list after 7 days.
Well, I was getting ready to say, I mean, if you make your new updated list now, your shit's going to be like an NCAA bracket. It's going to get busted up.
It's going to be all busted up. And again, week after that, Tank's back on the cards. Again, he's on other people's pound for pound list, so to be shaken up. Then you got Kambosos and Haney. Kambosos is on your list. What if Haney beats him? That we have a true undisputed now at that weight class. His performance could definitely make DB say, damn, I didn't realize Haney was like that. He deserves to be on the list. You never know. And then your list is getting updated. So again, I think we'll get to an official Combat Conversations pound for pound list after this run. And if this run just keeps continuing, we might have to wait
till the year.
We'll automatically, not even a full year. Now we won't do that just because we do want to get into it. Maybe 6-month mark. You know what I'm saying? Maybe mid-season awards. Who we think? So what's Canelo do? Was Canelo exercise that rematch clause, or does he go ahead and get into that with that Triple G? Because I'm gonna tell you what I want.
You want that Triple G?
I want that Triple G. Okay, I wanted that Triple G already.
You also want Bivol to go ahead and get undisputed.
We all do, don't we? So I figured, listen, let me explain what I want. And I figured, to me, this is logical. Everybody also should either kind of want this or whatever. I guess, Canelo's fans essentially want him to run that back. They want him to get his revenge over Bivol. I get that, okay? Now, to me, what needs to happen, what should happen is, Canelo needs to go ahead and step aside. And I've said this with other fighters too who get in the way of something bigger happening with the belts in the division. It's for the overall popularity of the sport to help everybody. So Canelo can step aside and fight Triple G in September at 168. And you already heard the 175 excuses that we just kind of put to bed a little bit ago. Oh, it was all cool versus Kovalev and everything, but now it's too fucking much. Nah, Bivol beat that ass like you said.
Beat him like a drum.
Beat him like a drum. So go back down to 178 where you the undisputed champ, crown king.
168.
Excuse me, you're right. 168, crown king, Godfather moment. You know what I'm saying? We slipping on him. Though that is the weight that everybody claims you reign king at. Can't be touched at 168. Have Triple G move up to 168, fight you again. If you walk away from Triple G looking good, who 2 days ago, everybody was basically scared for Triple G's life.
And now all of a sudden it's
a good fight. Everybody's kind of wants to see. So did Canelo take a step back, or was 175 too much in Bivol? So either way, it doesn't matter. I, again, on record before 2 days ago, has been saying that I'm ready for this Triple G3 because Triple G has continuously been showing me that he still got it. And I think he can still bring it to Canelo. And essentially, I still think he can deliver problems to Canelo and make it a fight that Bivol just made it. So drop back down to 168, fight Triple G, beat Triple G, let Dmitry Bivol take the winner of Better BF Joe Smith Undisputed, and then get another crack at the 175 if you feeling up to it. If Canelo doesn't think that the weight and the vegan diet wasn't a problem, then go ahead and try it again. And he'll still be undisputed at 168, and he'll be taking on a 175-pound undisputed champ. Holy shit. 2 undisputed champs fighting, like, that's unprecedented. Like, that, we got to clamor for that. And then to take it one step further, and we'll talk about that in the back end. This is where I'm torn a little bit. There's a side of me that wants Jermell Charlo to win undisputed. That way, when Bud fights Spence, which needs to fucking happen next, once he rolls Spence, which I think he will, when he goes to 154, he'll be undisputed. Fighting Jermell Charlo, who he said he wants, he'll be undisputed. We would potentially have 2 fights with each having 2 undisputed champs. Boxing fans wouldn't know how to fucking act.
They wouldn't know how to fucking act.
That's a mic drop moment right there.
That's a mic drop.
Boop. Like, if that happened, yeah. If
logically that makes sense, and you know, you list off all the reasons why it made sense in that, but from that, and that makes sense for most boxers, but Canelo is not most boxers. And you know, I think he wants to be the guy to unify at 175. So I think he's gonna rematch Bivol to try to win that 175 strap, and then he wants to take on the winner of Joe Smith and Better Beef, and he wants to be the one to unify the division.
Yeah.
But you know, I mean, when you went off, I mean, it makes sense. You know, boxing fans would know what to do with that.
We really wouldn't. Like, because on top of it, we're getting Haney Kambosos. That'll settle that undisputed.
You know it's gonna sell like crazy.
We got Inu and Danier in another unified match that should get 3 of the belts up. I mean, we have unification bouts coming out our ass now. Kudos to boxing for that. Finally, I mean, if anything, we complain about how many belts they got because they do have too many. But the least, at least we used to ask for was at least give us unification bouts regularly. Because guys,
now they're coming out the ass,
and now they're coming out the womb. So. But if we had those undisputeds, to me, if Canelo did that for us, that would be great. But you know he's gonna make sure he wants to get that sweet revenge too. Mm-hmm. But again, I can't see a Dmitry Bivol second fight going much different, and I think Bivol's gonna be even more confident.
Yeah.
I can't see a second fight going much different than the first.
I mean, I just think that's where the line is drawn at, is at 175. Because remember, before the fight took place, you know, there was stuff coming out on Twitter and that, you know, about how Eddie Hearn said Canelo looked at him and said, hey, if you can make it a pound over 200, you know, I'll beat Usyk. And you had Usyk coming out saying he would be down to fight Canelo at 200. And I think it's time to put that to rest.
Put that to rest.
Yeah, put that to bed.
2 days ago, we might have wanted to see it. Not anymore.
It was wishful thinking.
It was wishful thinking.
But like after seeing what happened Saturday night,
I guess you could say we got brought to reality. You know what I mean? And to me, like you said, Canelo was stepping up to be great into a division that maybe he reached his cap. But again, the deficiencies weren't super extreme. He's not fighting Tyson Fury. He's not fighting 6'9", 275. Again, he's fighting a guy who's weighed in at the same, reach difference 2-3 inches. We not talking 11 inches difference. You know,
Bivol's what, only 6 foot?
Yeah. So I mean, you know, again,
and Canelo's 5'8".
Yeah. Well,
so it's not that
to me.
much of a...
I'm totally the weight was not a problem. I'm not putting any of the weight excuses on that. If Bivol loses a couple more pounds to come down to Canelo's weight, I still think the fight's going the same way. I'm not so sure.
Bivol just outclassed.
I'm not so sure Canelo could beat Bivol in a boxing match.
And outbullied Canelo. I mean, that's what it comes down to. He lost to a better fighter. It happens.
It does.
This is what you all boxing fans have been screaming for. And then right after he loses, he's complete dog shit.
Now, I allude to this all the time, and subconsciously everybody should know it. How, when you lose to a fighter, how that fighter returns for the rest of their career matters. So the win over Canelo for Floyd looks fucking amazing because look what Canelo has come back to do.
Right.
But if Canelo would have fell off the map and took L after L after L, the win doesn't look as good. So right now he has the L for Bivol. Canelo's gonna come back strong. He's gonna win some fights. If Dmitry Bivol continues this train, becomes undisputed, wins matches, this loss is not gonna look like a detrimental loss.
No.
And you will say Canelo could have lost to 2 all-time greats.
Yeah.
And there's no shame in losing to all-time greats. And that's what these guys need to get out of their head. That's why we don't get a lot of these fights. They scared to lose that O.
But I know Canelo kind of wants to get back at it because he never really had the opportunity to do that with Floyd. He has an opportunity to do that with Bivol, and
Facts.
I think that's what he wants.
That matters a lot. It really does. The fact that you can get your revenge and you feel up to it, most humans are gonna want that, especially in a competitive world.
You know, because, hey, that's one thing Canelo will not get to say when it's all said and done.
Yeah.
Like, he can't say he beat everybody he's ever fought because he never had the opportunity to rematch Floyd.
Yeah. And when it comes down to it, don't nobody want Bivol. I don't think so. None of his contemporaries.
No.
They not stepping up to fight Bivol.
No one's calling him out. Nobody.
Don't nobody want that smoke.
No.
David Benavidez don't want that smoke. Jermell Charlo don't want that smoke.
Boo-boo.
First off, after...
People need to
for
stop.
boxing. Okay, so you said it's a strong point that Canelo could take the rematch clause, right?
Right.
So that means to me, after Jermell Charlo finishes beating you up in y'all's boxing match that you keep saying y'all gonna have,
right?
Why don't he fight Triple G?
That sounds like
it's a fucking
question.
It's $1 million question.
That sounds like a boo-boo question.
I mean, you know, and what's funny is out of all of this, he's the one that's getting left out. Boo-boo. Because he wasn't on the PBC deal, you know, because that's the thing. Then they joking about the Euro bum. I think somebody needs to let him know that Dmitry Bivol's not European.
He ain't a bum.
He also ain't European. You know, the country he's from is in Asia. It's not from Europe. So,
right.
But that's neither here nor there. So no matter what we ask for, Jermell Charlo, Triple G, Boo Boo Andre, David Benavidez, at this point, I still think they all waiting on that Canelo payday.
Payday.
That's it, you know, because ain't none of them going to want to step up, fight no Bivol, even though Bivol's going to be, he's got bigger, better fish to fry. They just going to sit back and wait for that Canelo payday. They're not going to fight each other. So
No.
That's, so, you know, answer that. Bivol, legit, he's gonna be high he's gonna be creeping up high on my pound for pound list. So
all right, I'm at number 5.
Be on the lookout for that. So definitely a formidable spot. But what Canelo went up against, main event for the second time in a row, and we can't wait to see how the numbers and the dice shake out. But Canelo was successful last time going up against a pay-per-view UFC card, UFC 274, which, I mean, on a grade level, what you giving UFC 274?
I give it an A.
I definitely gave that an A too.
I'm giving it an A. So,
had some good prelims. Prelims always good, you know, bringing that action, delivering that. But what's up with the controversy on the scales real quick? Because out of all the fighters, I'm hearing almost 20 overweight. That seems like some bull. I don't know about that.
No, he was half a pound overweight.
No. I'm talking about how many fighters weighed in overweight. I'm hearing upwards of close to 20.
So
that seems outlandish. 20 people coming in overweight. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, 20. So I guess real quick, well, I'm gonna let you go, but it's like I'm thinking to myself, like, did Olivera somehow get shafted?
I mean, it's a possibility.
Definite possibility.
Because the dude's basically fought at 155 his entire career, and he's never really had issues cutting weight or making weight.
Right.
And like you just alluded to, like, you had like up to 20 different fighters who came in overweight. So I don't know. I think he did get I did think he get shafted. And I do think it was bullshit that he lost the title over a half a pound, but you know, they say rules are rules, but
what he missed out on is the title defense.
Right.
Because you're right, he got stripped, okay? But let's keep it real. He won the fight. When the next title fight comes around, he's going to be in it, but he's going to be fighting for a vacant belt. So the trade-off is he loses the title defense, but by rules, he's going to become a two-time champ. Well,
possibly.
Well, I get it, possibly, but you get what I'm saying.
Right,
that'll count as another championship win for him. So he'll essentially be able to call himself a multi-time champ.
Mm-hmm.
So that's your trade-off right there. But I guess let's get into the first major fight that broke the kick heard round the world.
Bro, I think he's still asleep.
Bro, is Ferguson still taking a nap?
I think he's give him a blanket, give him his binky.
Dude, that
he got
slept. The LG&E man came to collect.
Now, was that worse when Masvidal got his shit rocked by Kamaru?
I mean, you know, I get the meaning and the moment and the fluidity and that Usman knockout of Street Jesus was beautiful. But if I'm going like severity of the knockout, like,
bro, Tony went limp.
Dude, out of all the collectees that the LG&E man came to collect for that whole weekend, I think Ferguson was in the most debt. Like
LG&E man had that shit circled on the calendar. He's like, I'm coming to your place, I'm cutting your shit.
And Michael Chandler played the LG&E man to a T, because when that foot landed with that jaw, similarly to how Tyson Fury's fist landed with Dillian White, pure chin made him bite down on that mouthpiece. I mean, his teeth clicked with the mouthpiece in his mouth. That's how fucking hard he got kicked in his damn chin, his jaw, and his shit clicked, and his eyes just...
Bro, he was fucking out. Like, I thought he died.
Bruce Buffer was about to make the announcement, and they're like, Ferguson's still down. And I mean, we just sitting over here like, holy shit.
I'm over here like the Home Alone kid. I'm like, oh.
I mean, I was almost on some Wood Conlon stuff. I mean, just one hit a quitter, just sleep. So I mean, we beating a dead horse. But go watch the video if you ain't seen it, because that kick was vicious.
So with that being said, what's next for Tony Ferguson?
This fucking alarm clock. He's still trying to wake up. I don't even...
Bro,
retirement.
He's in a coma.
I guess the real question is what's up with Chandler. You know, Chandler losing to Gagey and, you know, other crucial fights. Chandler's just a tough son of a gun, dude. I mean, Chandler's that dude. I like him.
He's a fucking warrior.
He is. I mean, you know.
Like, he's not afraid to go into the fire, and he ain't afraid to stand in that pocket and fucking bang.
No, he's not at all. And he's another one climbing up, because obviously Gagey, they talked about that, him tumbling back. We'll get to that. But I'm glad we had that excitement, because I guess was the next fight a snooze fest? Are we going to start Rose Money, okay. Floyd Mayweather, Thug Rose?
Okay, so...
Don't we get credit for defenses?
All right, so I'm going to just keep it 100. My eyes
keep
were
it a
glued.
Buck with us. Keep it a buck.
My eyes were glued to the Canelo fight when Thug Rose was on. But from what I saw and from what I've been hearing and reading and talking with all, you know, because, you know, we got homies in that are also combat sports enthusiasts.
Already, we in conversation all the time.
From what I heard,
combat
like,
conversations.
Not only did she, like, not throw anything, and Esparza, she didn't throw anything either. Like, neither of them, I heard, like, there was 6 total punches thrown after the first round.
Damn.
So, like, yeah, like, total snooze fest. But I also heard that Thug Rose got terrible advice from her corner. Like, at one point, her trainer apparently said to her, like, hey, you listen to them booing? Like, that means you're doing the right thing. I mean, that's like...
It's contradictory of what you probably need to be doing to get these judges on your side.
Right. And
you're not doing nothing. There's no action. You judging shit.
And I saw on Twitter, like supposedly after the fight, Thug Roses is shouting, "I'm the best in the world. I'm the best in the world," only to lose. Like, it's probably the most cringe thing probably in UFC history.
I don't know if that's really any worse than Canelo putting his hands up after the Bivol fight. I mean, he knows he didn't win, but he's got to keep up the facade.
True.
So, I mean, you expect nothing less from her, but, ultimately...
But at least Canelo put in more work.
Way more work. But at the same
time... At least Canelo
time,
made it look more believable.
And then I guess she didn't have to go around saying that she's the best in the world, I guess, like, you didn't put on a best in the world type performance, so don't come in with that bullshit. But let's tell them who did put on a performance, though. Is or is not Olivera the lightweight GOAT?
Not yet.
Speak on it.
Not yet.
Not yet.
I've always kind of trashed Khabib on the show a little bit because for the better part of his career, it's funny, he kind of has a similar situation that Tyson Fury has. Like, his resume is not too deep. He only has like really 3 significant wins on there, as does Khabib, with Conor McGregor, Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier. I mean, you're looking at Charles Oliveira. He didn't fight Conor yet, but he's got Michael Chandler. We was just hyping him up.
Yeah, that's a good win. That's a good dub.
That's an excellent win.
Having Chandler on your resume is a good dub.
He beat Dustin Poirier in the same round with the same choke that Khabib did when he fought him.
Okay, that's checking both boxes.
And then he finished Gaethje in 1 when Khabib needed 2 to be Gaethje.
And then Gaethje was having major success first.
Oh, he was.
What, minute?
He even heard him.
First 90 seconds?
He even heard him. And I can't remember if it was DC or Joe Rogan, but I think the second time when Oliveira got dropped, they said it was like more like a hesitant drop.
Right.
I don't really think it was hesitant. I just think he got rocked and he immediately fell on his back and was like hoping Justin would go down. And I think that was just his awareness, his fight IQ. He used those couple seconds to regain composure, shake off the cobwebs, and then they stood back up. And
you notice Gaethje was playing it smart. Gaethje didn't want to get on the ground.
No.
He knew better. He wanted to keep the fight on the feet.
Exactly. So with all that being said, he's got Chandler, he's got Poirier, and he's got Justin Gaethje. And I think if he beats Islam Makhachev, who I think is going to be next, I mean, then I think we can really have a real conversation about Oliveira being the 155 GOAT.
The conversation, it's already visited, but you think that a win over Islam,
it'll really take off.
Will really take off.
Right.
Because, like I told you before, and you just said it, it's kind of like the resume might not be deep, but Khabib always passed the eye test.
Yeah. Well, perspective matters because, like, Khabib's never really lost a round either.
Yeah.
I mean, even though we fought trash cans, we say it all the time with boxers. So why not? Why can't it apply to MMA fighters?
That applies everywhere. That applies in every sport.
He took out the
trash.
He took out the trash.
That's every fucking sport.
So, I mean, he's got that going for him.
Yep.
But I think for Charles to really have a run in the conversation, I just think he has to get a win over Islam because he'll have more names than what Khabib has. And I think that's and of course he's got to look good, perform good. You
got to look good. Yeah, that's the eye test I'm talking about. But like we say, resume does matter when it comes to stacking up your all-time list.
Right.
Whether or not we talking GOATs, current pound for pound, like the performance you put on matters 100%. That's the top main thing. But then we evaluate the competition level at which you put that performance on, and take it a step back one more time just to hype up Dmitry Bivol. I've said it in the past, and I've claimed it. Bivol, for like 5-6 fights now that I've watched of him, he fights to the level of his competition. I don't know why. When he's fighting trash, he doesn't take out the trash like he should. He still beats him, but you would have thought, oh man, Bivol would have went up in there and mollywopped him based off of what I seen last fight.
Right.
Then he fights somebody better, and you're like, well, based off his last fight, he's probably gonna struggle. Then he gets this guy easily, and it keeps kind of jumping back and forth. And just like I said, he fought Canelo where he had to take his game up to the next level, and he did that.
I think
he matched his level of competition.
I think some fighters are just wired that way.
And some fighters are wired that way, you know. So, I mean, Olivera has a very good claim at being a GOAT now, but if he was to be able to take out Islam, oh man, that'd be a big win.
And it's not like these fights have been going to decision either.
Yeah, like Olivera's been getting the finish.
I mean, Chandler, he got him in 2. Poirier, like I said, he got him in 3, and then he got Justin in 1.
And we know, per se, the triangle theory don't work in combat sports,
right?
Like it does maybe
that
in
combat
some other
sports math.
Yeah, but then 2, it might have took you 2 rounds to finish a guy, and it took me 1. That's another. To me, that's a similar scale of the triangle theory.
Right.
We both finished him. It doesn't matter that it took me an extra 3 minutes. Okay, maybe he got up a little bit better for me. Who knows? There's a bunch of reasons why, but. Again, another stacked UFC 274 card. Successful. I can't wait to see what the numbers shake out.
I was getting ready to say that. Like, I want to see how, like, who had the better numbers. I still think Canelo will get the edge a little bit, but I think it'll be close.
Well, I heard not a lot of people wanted to buy it because he was fighting Euro trash. He went on his Euro tour, and he took a stop in Asia.
Because of that bullshit pay-per-view DAZN be making their subscribers buy.
Hey. Don't even get me started on that. DAZN breaching contract, doing all that, blah, blah, blah. So, again, great night from UFC 274. So, in the middle of the run. Let's get back into it. Future predictions. Next week, UFC Fight Night. Got at least a good main event going on. Jan Blachowicz, my man, the former light heavyweight champion, is back. Headlining a fight night. Man, again, Dana White with these fight nights, boy, putting on good fights.
Mm-hmm.
Worthy fights on a fight night.
Getting his Eddie Hearn on.
P. Diddy, a.k.a., Jake Paul's next. Jan Blachowicz, if he comes back and has a good fight, which we predicting him to win, he's fighting Rakic, a guy,
right.
Upcoming guy, don't know too much about him, not somebody we expect to be able to beat Blachowicz, who was top 7 pound for pound.
Was
past tense. Till Glover Teixeira went ahead and topped him off, took him down. Who's coming back next UFC card 275, might we add.
Mm-hmm.
If Jan looks good next week, are we interested in setting him up to get his belt back?
I think he would need one more fight.
One more?
One more.
Because Glover went up in there and kind of
manhandled him.
He did a little bit. Jan kind of.
So, like, in a fight like that, it usually takes 1 or 2 good fights, and then, boom, you get the rematch. But, yeah,
I can see that.
If he goes in, next week, takes care of business,
yeah,
gets
be on the lookout again.
Then, yeah, be on the lookout.
So, UFC Fight Night coming up, former champ Jan Blachowicz back. Then, we also got Undisputed Championship Boxing yet again. Jermell Charlo versus Brian Castaño 2.
My man Castaño should have won the first fight.
Should have won the first one. He should be defending Undisputed champ and having Jermell Charlo get his rematch clause on.
Wasn't there also an outrageous score, like 117?
Oh, yeah, you remember that shit?
Yeah,
oh, my goodness. That, boy.
Do you see the judge get fired, too?
Suspended, I hope.
Suspended.
Shit. I think because of that, they made sure that this fight wasn't in nobody's backyard.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it was uncalled for. It was uncalled for.
This is the fight that they made sure.
We thought Canelo got love. This man Charlo had to have slipped somebody some cash money, young money.
No, you know who gets major love? Josh Taylor.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, we know that. Who Jack Catterall should be the undisputed champ.
Man, just like your boy Regis should be, he should be undisputed right now.
We know that. But we don't want to go back to 2 fights on top of 2 fights. We'll just go back 1 fight. And just like Jack Catterall, Brian Castaño should be the 154 undisputed champ. But he's not.
Charlo slipped him judges.
And he's going to get his shot. He's going to get his shot back this upcoming Saturday. And I guess it's prediction time. I think Brian Castaño went in there and handled the first fight. I really do feel like he won 8 rounds. Solid 8 rounds. You want to go 7-5 conservative, he easily won that 8-4, 9-3. Even if you want to give Jermell that 10-8 towards the end of the fight, the one round he really did shine, but didn't capitalize on it. And then Brian Castaño took a page out of like the future, even though he was first, the future Cambosa's book. And even though you faced adversity in a fight you was winning, you came back to conquer again to show that you was on top to fight. So what Brian Castaño showed me, on top of Jermell Charlo struggling against Tony Harrison, not fighting top-level competition whatsoever in his division, I'm not sold on Jermell Charlo. I'm just not sold on him to be a top 10 pound-for-pound fighter. Sure, he's got 3 belts. Sure, he has an opportunity to go undisputed. But I really don't feel he's a top 10 talent pound-for-pound.
Bro, he struggles against bums. He won't unify his own division. He's too pussy to fight Benavidez. But yet, this is the dude that supposedly Canelo is scared to fight.
I mean, he's more scared of his brother. Jermell is the one that's in the mix for the Canelo shit. Jermell is the one that's got the belts with Castaño. But again, Jermell's scared of Bud. Both of the brothers are scared of somebody. But Jermell is the one that's scared of Bud, and he's getting Castaño. He's about to get that Castaño treatment because he's about to get him again. But I feel Jermell is just overrated. He's beating bums too. You know, I think he had a fight with Jarrett Hurd, come back and did nothing. I mean, you're looking at these things like, why do people put him on a level when they clearly see he's not passing the eye test?
No.
Not at all. So when it comes to the actual fight, I can't sway against Brian Castaño. I feel like he's going to go in there and do the same thing he did in the first fight, control it, be more active, land the solid flush punches, and ultimately win the fight.
So how do you think he's going to win it?
It's going to be a decision. I can't see. I can't see him knocking him out. They both tough. They both gritty. You know, I give Jermell that. You know, I don't. If I'm just based in the twins, you know, I might lean Jermell for attitude wise and stuff. But I when it comes to actual the skills in the fighting, Jermell's the one with the loss. You know, I'm not sold on him. I'm just not sold. And if he goes in there and handles Brian Castaño, I eat a little bit of that humble pie. But I don't believe it's happening. And I got Castaño in the decision. I'd like to see Charlo win, become undisputed, and then let Bud, just like I said before, beat Spence and then come up and beat that ass at 154. All that shit. But I think Castaño is going to walk away with the dub. That's my final prediction.
Yeah, same. I got him by UD. I just feel like the last fight, he controlled the pace. I wish he would have been more active in the later rounds, like you said, but I feel like he's gonna, you know, sharpen the tools up a little bit, you know, work on that gas tank. And
like we talked about, he goes back and he'll watch footage, and you know, I think the second one, they figured each other out a little bit. It's an advantage for Jermell too, don't get me wrong, but again, knowing how Brian Castaño went up in there and handled his business, he's gonna be more confident than I believe he ever has. And then I think he's gonna come away with being the 154 undisputed champ. And I think people, again, Brian Castaño's not on my radar for a top. He's not lighting up the eye test. And I don't give Jermell too much credit on my pound for pound list. So ultimately, if Brian Castaño wins, I'm not going to be one of those that automatically puts Brian Castaño in my pound for pound list. Josh Taylor's an undisputed champ. He's not going to be in my top 10 pound for pound. He's just not. We will talk about what my pound for pound list alludes to, but I don't give brownie points just because you have an extra belt or 2 belts or you're the undisputed champ. Josh Taylor showed that Jack Catterall was better than him. Thus, Jack Catterall could arguably be a better skilled fighter and higher on a pound-for-pound list. Now, he should have the belts to go along with it, but again, that's why Josh Taylor's off my list. And that's simple as that. And I might not put Castaño on my list for beating Jermell, but I do think he's going to beat him and is a better skilled fighter. Can't wait to find out. Can't wait to find out. That whole shakeup right there, and, you know, Spence over here sending Canelo, like, that was crazy in itself. PBC over here tripping. You know, Jermell's over here getting his stuff on while Jamal's over here talking about people ducking, fighting nobodies, and this man's literally fighting John Doe.
Mm-hmm. He's fighting you.
Me. You. The mailman. Who the fuck is he fighting? Salusky and Lemieux. Like, who are these guys? You know, like, to them, I get it. We know who they are. But who are they really? Are we giving either one of these guys who they say they want to fight the best and be the best? Yet it's only Canelo. But yet they fighting these no-name guys. These guys who we ultimately know.
Well, the excuse you're going to get is threat. The excuse you're going to get is because nobody wants to fight them.
Right, but you know that to not be the case.
Right.
In their case.
Right.
When you have other champs talking about that's all we want to do is fight. You know, I get why some low-level upcomers might not want to fight you, but when you got 3 champs in one division all barking at each other, something's got to give.
You know, all three of y'all can't be.
All 3 y'all fucking liars.
Right. I don't know, man, but, you know, we're going to find out. Like you said, we've been asking for more unified championship fights, and now we're just getting it out the ass.
Yeah, we are getting these unified bouts, and it has sped up this process of boxing being back, not dead. We keep alluding to it. They shoot themselves in the foot. We've been shooting ourselves in the foot a little bit less and less.
Mm-hmm.
So, now, to not commit suicide, Bud and Spence has got to happen. That's suicide if it doesn't happen.
It's an American travesty if it doesn't happen.
Yeah. So
it's a robbery of the century if it doesn't fucking happen.
Again, if Bud and Spence was to fight and come out in an undisputed, then you had Spence fight. Then you had. It doesn't matter who came out on top of that. Then you had potentially a 147, 154 matchup. That would be ludicrous. I mean, boxing fans wouldn't know what to do with themselves. So, before we get out of here, I just wanted to say thank you, everybody, for listening to this episode of Combat Conversations. Lastly, please hop on that Facebook page, Combat Conversations. Like us, subscribe. We're on all the platforms, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, you name it. So, lastly, I've been your boy AG, a.k.a. the Boxing Guru.
And I'm your boy DB, the MMA Guru. And like AG said, appreciate the love, support, like, comment, subscribe.
Alrighty, so make sure y'all tune in to the next episode for The Run. This is going to continue. So until next time, peace.